Metro on 1019 WDET FM. I'm Tia Graham. And it's no secret the return of vinyl and record collectors has found its place with today's music lovers. Now, there are folks who've always been lovers of the medium, some saying it's a more crisp sound and the way music should be heard outside of live performances. Record Store Day is an effort to not only showcase independent record shops, but celebrate the culture these stores create within their communities. The first Record Store Day took place in 2008. And this year, Record Store Day is this Saturday, and WDET is offering an exclusive member drawing. Anyone who makes a gift to WDET at WDET.org/give, that's tomorrow or Saturday, will be automatically entered into the drawing to receive a swag bag filled with gift certificates and so much more. To tell us all about that swag bag, the gifts, and Record Store Day, we have the host of In the Groove, Ryan Patrick Hooper, who is hands in with Record Store Day here at WDET. Ryan, welcome to the Metro.
Hi, it's an honor to be featured as your resident record nerd. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, and I have questions for you because I know that you are one of those folks who are really, really into it. I want to talk to you about that later, but we do want to talk a little bit about Record Store Day itself. Can you talk to us a little bit about WDET's involvement and your hands-on involvement with this?
I think of independent record stores. They're very similar to what WDET is, right? It's independent radio. And both those things come together to support one another. So we wanted to boost up the record stores that are in the area. You know, we've got this great list that's going to be published on WDET.org shortly of some of the great record stores throughout Metro Detroit. And on top of that, they're offering, gift cards and different swags and things. So we're supporting independent brick-and-mortar record stores, which are critical, absolutely critical to discovering music and sort of the cultural canvas of Metro Detroit. And on top of that, you get to support public radio. That's like a dream come true, Tia.
And for you, as the, like you said, the local record head here at WDET, how do you make your voice matter when promoting local record stores and their value, especially just once again is the position that you hold within the community, being a local DJ?
We've been doing this thing kind of new on In the Groove still called Counterculture, talking to different record store owners about what makes their shop unique, because all the shops around here kind of specialize in something, different. You know what I mean? It could be the new stuff coming out. There could be some shops in the area where you kind of got to dig. If you're really into funk and soul, you might go over here, that type of thing. So we just want to give them a voice to be able to talk about, hey, here's what we have in our shop. Here's why we're doing this, why it's important to support these places. And right now for record stores, it's kind of like a bit of a boom for them because vinyl sales are way up. You've got megastar artists like Beyonce, Tia, and Taylor Swift who are now putting out records, and it's bringing in a whole new wave of record collectors. You kind of hope that those big pop stars are like a gateway drug. You might buy that Taylor Swift album, but maybe you go a little deeper, find something else at these record stores as well.
I love that you brought Beyonce up because, of course, that's one of my questions listed here is about Beyonce.
Yeah, I know who I'm talking to.
Yeah, so, okay, Beyonce. We're going to run down to Beyonce. She did release vinyls, but she released different versions of the releases. So the vinyl had a different version of music versus her CD versus the streaming platform. Can you talk about that tactic and bringing in those younger folks and bringing in those pop folks into the vinyl world?
Well, I was just talking about that on In the Groove weekdays, 12 to 3 here on WDET, about that yesterday. This whole idea of when artists put out an album, there's so much music that gets released, right? It's like you're staring at a fire hose of content that is just blasting you in the face at all times. So when these albums come out, I think for artists, they feel like, man, I'm just like dropping this thing in the world. I spent so much time on it. And then it's just sort of like over. You know what I mean? So they started doing deluxe editions where you have this album come out and then like a month or two later, they're like, hey, here's the deluxe edition with this unreleased song that you couldn't get before or maybe a demo. So it's a smart move to put those on like a limited release of like a cassette or a record because people are completists and they want to hear everything and they want to collect everything. So it's a way to keep the album cycle alive. I think that's probably a little more important for smaller artists than Beyonce, because if Beyonce, sneezes, the world freezes for a day and we got to like check in and be like, is she okay?
I mean, she said she sneezes on a track and it gets sicker. Okay, that's how it works. But just speaking of just bringing in younger generations as well, and the magic of finding music in the wild, can you talk about how you would talk to younger generations or younger folks who do love music but maybe don't use the record store or even listen to vinyls as a way of discovering new music?
It kind of reminds me of that Onion headline where it was like, father is introducing kid to antiquated medium to isolate them even further from their friends. Because vinyl, it's like, for some people, they're like, why is this even a thing? A lot of people got rid of their vinyl because they were like, this is dead. This isn't coming back. But here's what happens with every generation. If you get more digital, these kids are online more than ever. We always come back to this thing of tactile. You want to hold something in your hands. You want to be able to see these photos. You want to be able to hold that record sleeve, read the lyrics, and actually own something. We don't really own anything anymore. You're streaming. You might buy something on iTunes. You don't own that. That's a license. They could take that away from you at any moment. But with physical media, that's yours, and it's kind of personal. And I think we're seeing every generation either reconnect with those record collections that were collecting dust in the basement, or you see this younger generation that's like, I want to own something. I actually want to have a physical memento of this artist I really love. And that gives me hope in a world that increasingly feels like it's on fire at all times.
You can literally say that again. You can yeah, it does feel like it's just always burning around us. But we're talking about Record Store Day right now on the Metro. Our guest is the host of In the Groove, Ryan Patrick Cooper. And we want to ask you all, open those phone lines, 313-577-1019. What is your favorite record store or record store memory? And I do want to ask you, Ryan, to just get deep into it, the crate diving and the crate diver mentality. What are some special finds that you've had over the years that kind of that stick to you and hold in your brain?
Ooh, I mean, there was I was able to go on a WDET travel trip. We take people all over the world, and we were in Switzerland, in Lucerne. I was walking by this record store, and they had an Aaliyah record in the window. You know how Detroiters are. We love seeing ourselves represented around the world. And I always say on In the Groove, Detroit makes it, the world takes it.
Yes.
We've got a lot of influence out there. So I see that record and I go in there. I start chatting up the guy. I'm like, hey, you've got an Aaliyah record in the window. And he's like, yeah, kind of dismissive of me. I was like, well, I like that because I'm from Detroit. And he's like, oh, you're from Detroit. And he was a huge fan of Detroit music, of WDET's own YG, and he had brought Will Sessions over there to play, a great Detroit band. Got another WDET coworker, Sam Bobian. So I was able to dig through that shop and find some really cool records and connect with somebody around the world through Detroit music, through records. And that was a really special moment for me with the Record Store Day. I also have to say, locally, you're talking about favorite record stores.
Yeah.
I grew up in Clawson. Go Trojans. And at the time, Flipside Records was in Clawson. It's now in Berkeley. It's still open. I know it's confusing. One time it was in Clawson. That's where I grew up. And that record store was so formative. They would let us play shows there. We were kids. We couldn't get like a legit show at like a venue. But the record store allowed us to have that outlet and connect with people. And that's something, too, when you talk about third places and places where we can express ourselves. Record stores have always been that for a burgeoning scene, a nascent scene, and for youth, for youth to have a place to go and discover and be able to create. So that's really important. I have to give a lot of love to Flipside Records. Now in Berkeley, they still have shows, and young kids are still playing there. And that is really important to me that we have those outlets because it feels like they're kind of disappearing sometimes.
I love that. Right now I'm looking through the glass, and Nate Bender, our audio engineer, shaking his head like, yep, you are right. That is exactly what it felt like to be in that community and be in that space.
Well, back in the day, Nate Bender tried to kick me out of Flipside Records. But I'm not going to tell that whole story on air. But he was in the right for the record. I was the wrong one, so just to make that clear.
Listen, that's growth. That's growth. Okay, we that's growth right there. But before we get to the actual WDET involvement one more time before we let you go, I do want to talk about just being a part of that unique community who are enthused about records and just music finds, especially finding it in the wild. I love the story that you told about being overseas, but what is it like here, especially as you're growing older and you're around other folks who are growing with you? Have you seen that community continue to grow?
Oh, for sure. I was talking before about, record stores right now, they're happy because people are buying a lot of vinyl. That's important. But let me tell you something that's special about Detroit. I think about Spotlight Records on the east side. I think about People's Records in Eastern Market. Yeah. The thing that's crazy here is that a lot of Detroit musicians, it's important to them to have vinyl. Digital's nice, but they want to create something that's in the world that can be discovered in the way that you're talking about. And if you go to a place like People's Records, Detroit musicians of all ilk will bring their records personally into that store. So that pipeline in Detroit of who's making the music, it getting pressed and getting to you at a local record store is like vertically integrated in the city in a really, really exciting way. So whether you want to discover like an old school classic or if you want to know what the sound of the city is right now, the record stores that we have in Detroit and Metro Detroit are really connected to the scene, really reflective of the music here. And that is special. So talking about that community and talking about how you can connect at these places, Detroit is very, very special. I think sometimes, like I said, you got to go to the other side of the world to remember how dope we are.
Yeah. I almost don't even want to ask you one more question, Ryan. But that was perfect. But WDET's involvement, I know that you've been working hands-on with this. So can you just give us a little bit more for folks who are interested to know about the Record Store Day?
Like I said, record stores, independent places, independent businesses, public radio, powered by the people, independent, ain't no corporate nothing telling us what to do. So we're connecting these two things, promoting these local record stores, and they're kind of giving back to WDET, being like, we got gift cards, we got swag. So when people make a gift of support to public radio on Friday, tomorrow, and Saturday, which is Record Store Day, you can power up public radio and, of course, get in the groove and support some local record stores, too.
And for folks, I don't know if it's okay, are you in Punta Cana right now?
No, I am not. But it is my birthday.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure I could say happy birthday on air.
Oh, thank you. Do you want to sing it to me, or how do you want to do it?
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, the Stevie Wonder.
The only one. It's the only one that exists.
If you're going to do the Stevie Wonder version, we're going to be on air for a long time.
Yes, we are. Ryan Patrick Cooper hosts In the Groove from noon to 3 p.m. every day on WDET. Ryan, as always, thanks for stopping by.
Give all your money to Detroit artists. Give all your money to Detroit record stores. Thank you, Tia.
You're welcome. And you must make a donation through WDET.org/give between tomorrow and Saturday to be entered into the drawing. A winner will be notified Monday, April 14th by the phone. And for full WDET contest rules, visit WDET.org/rules. From the WDET newsroom, we're taking a look at sports. The Tigers lost to the New York Yankees 4-3 at Comerica Park. Their starting pitcher yesterday, Jack Flaherty, struck out 9 batters for Detroit, which has won 7 of its last 9 games. So doing pretty well starting the season off. In the NBA, the Pistons host the New York Knicks tonight, and Western Michigan takes on Denver in the NCAA men's hockey semifinals this afternoon. The top-ranked Broncos are making their first Frozen Four appearance against last year's national champions. Shout out to Western Michigan. And in politics, the Wayne County State of the State was last night. Executive Warren Evans says now that municipalities can no longer opt out of regional transit projects, he's looking toward hammering out a new plan with the county's 43 communities. Evans also announced that the county has helped 24,000 residents wipe out $13 million in medical debt. And Evans, who has been in office for a decade, says many workers will get $25 million in much-needed raises after the Wayne County Commission passed a $2.2 billion budget. Coming up, we'll discuss the pressure beauty standards put on people. Have you ever considered changing the way you look to fit a certain beauty standard? Give us a call and let us know your experience. That number is 313-577-1019. You can stay right there. We'll be right back on the Metro.